This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I've got the pleasure of having Josh Forkner out of Southern Cal, making a career change and moving into the CBD market. We're going to talk about pain relief. We're going to talk about workout recovery. We're going to talk about what it takes to build a brand and what constitutes progress. Building a business of value is always takes a lot of time and effort. So, Josh, look forward to hearing your story. Why don't you tell us what started you off to get into the category?
So originally, I was big into sports growing up, and then from there, my family owns a Finnish carpentry company. So I was kind of put into that line of work very, very young. 12, 13. My dad wanted me in there sanding wood and moving stuff around. So from there, I really liked it. With that career, you got to use your body a lot, right? It's mind and body and physical. So all day it was physical work. And then after that, I would do a lot of workouts. So I was doing very well with that, but then I got in a car accident. So the first car accident, it did a number on my neck, but it was the second one that really, really put me at a halt on what I was doing. So I came up with the decision that I need to use my mind over my body to make money. So that's when I was just kind of fishing around, and one of my buddies, they actually had this cream they developed. It was just in a little jar. It was unmarked. So he gave me some and it worked. It was like magic. I'm like, what is this? He goes, oh, this is a little CBD cream I formulated. I go, dude, that's the only thing that has helped me. I'm like, let's get this going. So he's like, let's do it. So he goes, come up with the name. Let's start branding it. Let's move forward. And that's how FlexCBD came about, was just so happened to come across it.
Got it. So is your buddy still a co-founder in the
Yeah.
business?
So there's three of us.
Okay. And how has it now worked out from a standpoint of, every early stage company, it's either everyone's a utility infielder and doing whatever needs to get done versus, hey, this is what I'm responsible for. How have you guys kind of moved into more of like a structure?
So this structure is two of the founders are also business partners in another industry. So one of them is kind of taking care of that other business, which is our sister company. And then the other partner, who's actually Fili Mwala, who used to play in the NFL. So I got a good guy behind my back that knows a lot about the body, a lot about fitness and recovery. So me and him kind of teamed up, and we're the ones that hit the streets running. We do all the day-to-day operations. We deal with the athletes. We go do meet and greets and talk to the customers.
Got it. So when you started to look at this, obviously, building a brand, takes time. You could get certain hits on social media. You could look to sponsor either teams, people, different categories of sports. You referenced right before we started you had some guys on the volleyball tournament. So talk about how you guys have looked at what's our return on marketing, as well as what types of people do we want affiliated with the brand.
Yeah, and that's a good subject, because when you first start and you're a nobody, it's very hard to get reputable people to endorse your brand, because number one, they don't know a lot about it. They don't want to destroy their brand, and that's a lot of it. So what we did is we kind of sought out to who was close to us. Luckily, my partner was in the NFL, so his family and his partners and friends are all kind of athletes as well. So they were able to kind of point us in the right direction, and we had to do the work for us. So what we did is we first gave the athletes the product. We said, hey, just try this. If it works for you, let's talk about an endorsement deal. So luckily, our product works very well. We gave it to our very first athlete was a bull rider, actually. And we thought, wow, this is going to be amazing. This guy puts his body through more than any other sports guy, right? So he took it, he loved it, and that was our first athlete. And so it's hard. I would say return on investment is he's good, but that demographic is small. So then we wanted to work into a demographic where they have a bigger presence, a bigger online presence. So that's when we got into Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb, who are like the third best volleyball players in the world. So once those guys jumped on, it was night and day. And what I look for is on social media. So let's say they have 40,000 followers, right? If they're only getting 300 likes on a photo, I don't know how that relates into sales. So luckily with those guys is I noticed that they have 30 to 40,000 followers, and each picture and post they post is about 30 to 40,000 likes. So it's like a 90% return rate. So those guys, anything they post, it'll go viral, and it relates to sales online.
Got it. That's great.
Yeah.
And if you set this up where you got an affiliate code, have you set up where to get a monthly retainer? Without giving us too much of the specific details, but I just want people to understand, how this space works, because it's a little bit of the Wild West, I would say. Or like,
Of course. Yeah, of course. You're 100% correct. Yeah, we have an affiliate program. They can go online at realflexcbd.com. They could fill it out, and they're going to get a 30% return. So they get their own interface. They can see what's going on. They can see the sales they make, and then they'll every month they get a check.
And did you guys develop that software on your own to do that, or did you just want to track it?
No, you can actually, with the Shopify, we have a Shopify website. And the good thing about Shopify, they have a lot of apps, third-party apps that you can integrate into your website.
Got it. So, when you started out here and you put together some projections, you're in an office right now. Are you in a shared office space? Do you guys have a warehouse? Where are you guys at right now?
Yeah, so we're located in Torrance, California. We do have a parent company, so we kind of combined the two companies into this. So we have about 16 offices where I'm at now, and about a half a block away, we have a 30,000 foot warehouse, and that's where we do all of our shipping and receiving.
That's great. So from a standpoint of, there's obviously a lot of players in the space. Some are CBD, some are moving into THC. Is a goal to get into THC at all, or is it just to stick with workout recovery and CBD?
Well, with us, because we sponsor Olympic athletes, and there's WADA, I'm sure you know about WADA, where they'll come and actually drug test these people. They'll pull them out of, it doesn't matter where they're at. They'll pull them out of the house and drug test them at 4:00 in the morning. So that's one thing that we have to be very, very cautious about with our products, is that we have a lot of testing along the whole entire process, just to make sure there's no contamination of THC, because we don't want to ruin anybody's career. But luckily, to battle that, what we did is we found a lot of other natural ingredients that work really, really hand in hand with CBD to kind of offset that THC, because some people like it in there. It creates this thing called the entourage effect. But no, our products don't have it, and we don't plan on having it.
Got it. And then from a standpoint of like the different markets you can go into, so one is direct to consumer, where we've got the athletes. You probably have like chiropractor, and you've got like pain management companies. How have you kind of looked at the professional versus the consumer, distribution outlets?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's hit and miss. It's really how well that person in the market, like, so for instance, chiropractors and acupuncturists, they sell the most of our product. If we were to go into smoke shops, they don't do that well. It's kind of saturated. What we find that works best for us is whether it's a fitness studio, a yoga studio, a senior fitness center, chiropractic, acupuncture, little small gyms, cross fitness, those places that only showcase our product or maybe one or two products, we do very well in. And then obviously on the internet, we kill it on the internet. I would feel that that's a lot of our sales are on there.
Yeah, so a lot of the listener base here are bricks and mortar health and fitness operators. So when you take a look at, a pro shop of a yoga studio, they might have some yoga pants, they might have some shirts, they might have, maybe a little bit of jewelry, or like, crystals or gems and things like that. What would you say, out of the bricks and mortar locations that you guys distribute to, which modality has shown the most volume, and people are like, hey, I got to have this in here, and I'm actually able to move like a material amount of volume?
So I would say there's two, and that's chiropractic and yoga studios. Number one, chiropractic, because they like to use it, because what happens if they use it prior to their adjustments, the adjustment's more likely to stay, because sometimes people need to go in 2 or 3 times. Well, they found by using our product, it loosens up the muscles, reduces inflammation fast. So when they do their adjustment, that stays. And a lot of chiropractors don't like that. They actually stopped using our product because it said it helped too good. So, I said, that's great. We don't want it in there anyways. We want it with the people that are out here really trying to help people. So, yeah, they're using it. And then yoga people are also incorporating it into like a FlexCBD or a CBD class. And before yoga, they all sit down, they use the product, and it helps them with stretching, There's menthol in it, so it kind of gives you that calming effect. And so those are our two biggest sellers.
Got it. So as you take a look at, where we might be able to be helpful, whether that's on, groups like the Joint or ATI, physical therapy, or Aligned Healthcare, thinking off the top of my head on the physical therapy side. And if you take a look at yoga groups or chains, there used to be some larger ones than there are now. You got Y6 that's owned by Exponential Brands. It has several hundred locations. You got Core Power. Um, as a young company, have you been able to break into those accounts yet, or is that something as a natural progression? Get kind of your sea legs for some of these independent operators, and then be able to provide the volume and supply for those types of larger accounts.
So that's funny you say that. So my wife actually goes to Yoga Six locally in South Redondo, and that was one of our first places that we went. So she's like, "Oh, let me drop off samples," and I gave her some samples. She's like, "This isn't enough." She took like full Ziploc bags of samples, and they were gone within 30 seconds. I swear, like they were just insane. And immediately we started getting all these calls, people asking, "Where do I buy this stuff? Where do I buy this stuff?" And then I talked to the managers there, but obviously that's a corporation, and I need to get higher up there and get the right contacts. But just this weekend, actually in Manhattan Beach, we had a lot of people that go, "Oh my God, I got this sample at Yoga 6. I've been looking for you guys. Can I buy the product now?" So yeah, that's one of the biggest things. And as far as putting out the volume, yeah, I mean we have tons of product in stock. We can definitely supply those chains.
Got it. If I'm a retailer, well, let's take a yoga studio. Give us an idea of what the potential margin is. There's a lot of people that run health clubs and yoga studios, and others, they think they're making a certain amount on their shape. But when you take the labor and you take all the products that they're building, it might be a break-even cost center and not necessarily a profit center. So, can you talk about how profitable this is you know, as a product candidate for retail?
Yeah, so the good thing about our product is what we try to do is put in more CBD, create a higher quality product at a fraction of the cost. So just our 4-ounce tube, all our competitors are between $80 to $100 with half the amount of milligram strength. So our go-to, which is a 4,000 milligram strength, MSRP at $60. And then so these companies can make about a 50% margin. So there's a lot of money there for them to make. And if they do start pushing volume, we can even do better than that.
And is there maybe educate us a little bit on CBD? 4,000 milligrams, is that per quote unquote like rig size, or is that the whole bottle?
That's a good question. That's actually the whole bottle. So, and that's one thing consumers have to look at is the milligram strength for the size of the bottle. So if there's another company that has a 4-ounce tube and it's only 500 milligrams, I mean that per serving, they're pretty much getting nothing. So that's one with all of our research. And mind you, this product took us 2 years to develop. So there was a lot of research that went into this to make sure that we're obviously not overdoing it with the CBD, because we don't want to get to that point. We want to have that perfect level that it's effective and you're not putting too much in your body, because we don't want to do that. So yes, it's per serving. It's hard to judge because of how much product you're going to actually use. But yeah, so we do ours 4,000 milligram or a 4-ounce tube.
Got it. So we started doing these lightning rounds just to kind of get to know you better. So
Okay, cool.
different, like pick one or the other, or feel free to expand on it. So are you a morning or nighttime workout guy?
I would say nighttime.
Nighttime. Netflix, comedy or drama?
Comedy. I need to laugh after a hard day's work.
Yeah, I hear you. As an entrepreneur, you definitely need that. Are you a OCD or let it flow type of entrepreneur?
OCD, all probably too much.
OCD, CBD, and then back to the OCD. That's all. Looking to build value or build growth? I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah, value all day.
You do a cardio or strength?
I'm cardio. I can't do strength yet. I'm working my way up to strength.
All right.
I'm cardio.
Get back. We'll do another podcast so we can flip that around. And then here's an obvious answer, but entrepreneurship or the carpentry?
Entrepreneurship, it's just, there's every day is a new day. I didn't mind being a carpenter. I was a very high-end carpenter. I worked in $1 million homes. I mean, I worked in celebrities' homes. I did the best of the best. And there was a lot of gratification. Every day you're like, oh my God. And then you get to step back and go, oh my God, I built this from nothing. But this is the same thing. It's building a brand. It's building it from nothing. The difference is, this weekend I was on ESPN with pro volleyball players, at the beach. And it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And I get to meet a lot of people. So this is definitely, I'm just grateful for this opportunity.
That's awesome. Now, when you think about the growth of CBD, and you think about what it's replacing, whether that's, back in the day, you used to use like was it like BioFreeze, or used to put the, all the different ointments on. Like has it crossed the chasm yet? That CBD is like the go-to, or he's still kind of like a year or two away? Oh, excuse me.
I would say about a year or two away because of the lack of information out there and educating the people. So BioFreeze, people aren't going to think twice. They're going to slap it on there. Most people with our product, they can be a little weary at first, especially people like drug tested, truck drivers and things like that. But then there's the stigma behind it, right? Oh, this comes from marijuana plant. And they don't understand that, and they can't correlate the difference, and they don't understand how it can help the body. So as soon as we educate people, then they're more willing to try it. And I feel like we're gaining a lot of traction. A lot of things are opening up for us. We're able to actually market on Google and social media and things like that. It's an uphill battle, but I think that the more education that comes along with it, and the more people we help get off prescription medications, I think word's going to get out, and it's going to be everybody's go-to. I'm aiming for a household product in the next 2 years.
That's awesome. So I got to make one public service announcement here, because the U.S. Virgin Islands do not allow CBD into the country. And right after you and I met, it was probably close to a little under a year ago, I went to Caicos for a buddy of mine's 50th birthday. Some customs kind of like calling. I said, me? And for some reason, he's like, do you have any CBD lotion with you? I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, why would you ask me that? And she's like, well, it's illegal here. So they shook me down for like $300 fine. And they took it and they put the FlexCBD in one of those evidence bags.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to take a picture and send it to you. Be like, this is a good viral marketing thing. You need evidence.
I'm sure.
It goes customs.
Oh my gosh.
I ended up getting held up for an hour. I ended up giving these two women that were running customs a copy of my book, and I signed it for them. We hugged afterwards. You do your live, and I'll get my CBD when I get home. But it's pretty funny that the Virgin Islands somehow have some arcane rules that you can't have CBD or THC. I'm like, they're probably selling it right outside when I get out of the airport.
Oh, for sure they took it home. For sure. I can't believe. So if you're not Pete, definitely don't take CBD to the Virgin Islands, because it might.
Well, also because you had it so well branded that even if they went to my stuff, I'm like, dude, it says CBD Flex on it. I probably just admit it now. The fact that I was transparent and can't hold me up because I didn't lie to you. Anyway, but I thought that was a pretty funny story, because right after we met, I was bringing it down to show my buddies, hey, dude, you got to start using this. And I ended up showing up at the resort without the lotion because they heisted it from me at the airport. So maybe there's sales down there, through the internet or something that's happening because of that event. So look, we're going to be helpful in trying to get this into yoga studios. We'll get you connected with some of the chains. Is there anything going on where you're trying to get into a CVS or a Dwayne Reed or a Walgreens? Is that happening yet? Do they provide these products, and is there a market leader that needs to be unhinged?
Yeah, there is. What I did notice is let's say Whole Foods, for instance, they've been carrying CBD for a long time, but they carry such a low milligram strength that is actually hurting us, because people will say, oh, I bought that. I tried that. It didn't work for me. And it's well, there wasn't enough in there to actually help you. It's more of a placebo effect. And then there's also the price. So like I said, our MSRP is about $60. So I'm not sure as far as the average consumer that's going to be shopping through there, if they're willing to just spend $60 on trying something. So what I did is I developed a 2-ounce tube. And with that 2-ounce tube, it's gonna be between our 2,000 and our 4,000. So it's a smaller tube with 1,500 milligram strength. And so it's gonna be like if you were to compare it to the ones we have now, it would be about 3,000. That makes sense. So, but that's gonna be more affordable, and that's gonna be coming in at $25. And then we have a spray, and we just did a travel size spray, and I'm trying to come in roughly around 15 or $20 on that, and more of like an introductory product, so I can get into those. And there is markup for CVS and things like that to make some money as well. So yeah, I'm open, Pete. Honestly.
So in closing here, give us a story or an email that you got or something where you're like, wow, like I'm glad I'm doing this because I helped somebody who had this kind of condition, or like what was something that like maybe shocked you or was like an unintended consequence?
Honestly, I'm not even lying. I get so many of them a day. So many of them a day. I'm going to touch on two really quick. And we do shows. So we go to Mr. Olympia every year. We go to the Fit Expo. And what we like to do is spray people right there on the spot. Because if we give them a sample, they'll leave. They might get on the airplane, whatever. We don't see them. If we spray them on the spot. One guy was a truck driver, and he got in a crash, and he flew through the windshield. He showed me this picture. It was all this debris, and he was just laying in the middle of it. It didn't even look like a body, honestly. And he's in so much pain. And I sprayed him. I'm like, you know what? Just try this. I sprayed him. Maybe a minute later, he starts crying right in front of me. And I'm like, whoa. He's like, this is the first time I've been relieved of pain. And like his wife starts crying. And like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, oh my God, we're actually making a change here. This is insane. Because it helped me. But I don't have control of other people's bodies and how their bodies react to it. So that was one that was just huge. There's a lot of people that call that have like terminal cancer and a lot of pain. And one lady called, her order didn't get out because she's on a subscription. And she was like, oh my God, I thought you guys were out of business. My husband, he has to have this stuff. So there's that one. And I have another one, but I don't know if that's too long for you. If those two are good.
Give me one more.
So this one is a little tragic. Can I touch on tragic stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is an open forum.
Okay, so I have a family member, and it was a sad story on Christmas Eve. His daughter actually trains horses. So they were up in the Santa Barbara area, and the horses got out. It was a stormy Christmas Eve. So he went up there to help her. So it was him and his wife's sister, and they went off to get the horses out the mud. So when they were bringing the horses back, his wife is always on the porch with dinner cooking, waiting for him. And he went into the house. Oh, so she wasn't there, and his sister-in-law went into the house. As soon as she went into the house, he heard a pop, and he knew as a war veteran, he knew exactly what it was. And some guy came out of the house. He had to wrestle this guy down. And now, mind you, Dennis is 75 years old. He wrestles this guy down, takes off, hides in the brush. The guy gets, he's going crazy. He jumps in a truck and takes off. Long story short, it was very tragic. He lost both of them that day. And when they caught the guy, they said he was high on marijuana, and that was the reason that he did this tragic incident. So Dennis he was a lineman and a cowboy. He walks like a horseshoe. He's just bent over. And he takes Tramadol every single night, and it doesn't even help him. And I'm like, Dennis, try this cream. Just try it. He goes, I don't believe in marijuana. That's what the guy was on that killed my wife, and I won't touch that stuff. And I'm like, okay, Dennis, I've known you my whole entire life. Just try it. There's no THC. It's not the same thing. I just gave him the tube, and we left. I left him that night. So a week later, he calls me and says that stuff is magic. I'm off my Tramadol. I tried it. I can't believe the stigmatism and the negativity I had towards this product and marijuana. He's like, it's completely changed my mind, completely turned me around. And his physical therapist called me and said, hey, where's Dennis? Because he stopped showing up. So I go, Dennis, where? You're not going to physical therapy. He said, I don't need to. I feel great. So that's another one that just warms my heart. And it's just when the going gets tough, I think of that story and I think of Dennis, and I just get up, I put my boots on, and I get to work.
what you need to do, entrepreneurs, you need like something to keep you going because this isn't an easy, it's not a diagonal line to the top, as we all
Ne-
know. So
No, and after I met you, and you told me that, it's kind of been embedded in my mind because it lets me know that I'm not the only one, right? There's a lot of people out here going through it.
yeah. All right, man. Well, we'll put up everything on the show notes side and let us make some intros over the next couple of weeks.
Okay,
See if we can get this stocked in.
great.
Awesome.